Alright, so welcome back to Close Enough Garage. We got a quick video going on today. The reason being is right now I've got a buddy whose bike just died on the side of the road. He's too far away from me to drive to. Usually I will go and help a local biker who's broke down or whatever else. I'm not going to leave you guys abandoned. If you know me, get a hold of me. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help you out. We'll worry about everything else later. So back to the point though is he's having the bike towed home. The symptoms he gave was that it started losing power going down the highway and then it just died. And when he would start trying to get it to turn over, the battery would just click. So to be able to diagnose what that is, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get one of these. This is a multimeter. As I've mentioned before in the Benelli video, these things are less than $20 at pretty much any hardware store around. I picked this one here up at Menards. I think it was about $20 total. So they are an invaluable tool when you're diagnosing anything to do with these bikes at all. I use this all the time, and actually I only use two functions. So if we can get in here tight on the screen, I'll show you those two functions right now. First one is I put it over on the ohms side of things. That's going to be a little indicator there where it's got your beep symbol and all that. That's just a continuity test. You can test switch function, you can test end to end of a wire, and all that other stuff like that to be able to tell if something's working the way it should. If you have continuity, it'll beep. And it'll put up a resistance on the screen on how much resistance is going through. So you can also test other things. I promised before, and I will get to it eventually, that you can bench test coils, you can bench test condensers. What else can you bench test? Oh yeah, you can field test your your charging system and stuff like that, all by using that same setting or one of the others in the resistance side of this. Excuse me, it'll pop up a number. So say like if you're testing a Honda coil, you need to have 5,000 resistance through the cap, and you would test this basically by grounding it out and putting it to the cap and testing resistance through that. You would test your secondary and primary windings based off of resistance. We will get into that, and those stats are going to be in your individual bike's owner's manual. Now, the other setting I use, and the one we're going to use today, is you just switch it over. Battery side, 9 volts. Put your red to your positive, your black to your negative on any battery out there, and that's going to tell you how much power that battery has in it. So we're going to bring it in and show you here. I'll put the screen somewhere it can be seen, and we will touch black to negative, red to positive, and it'll pop up over here on the screen. Now this is a good battery. It's showing 12.4 volts, so that'll work. I've seen a good, or at least in our case, a close enough battery. We're going to keep it on that setting. It'll be anywhere from 11.8 volts up to 13.2, somewhere in that range. You basically don't want to be too far away from 12 volts is what's important there. Now, if your battery is bad or if it's low, dead, whatever, it's obviously going to show less than that. Once again, we'll reference the Benelli video where that battery had, 7 point whatever volts in a 12 volt battery. That's dead. Your next step for diagnosing whether it is the battery or if it's something in the charging system is you're going to go ahead and put a charge on that battery, or if you don't have a charger, you can't get to one or use one, put a new battery in, run the voltmeter on it. Once it's done, or if it's new, whatever the case may be, check it, make sure it's fresh, put it in the bike, and hook up everything. Now, I'm going to have to raise my voice for this next part because we're going to start this big thing, and I will show you some multimeter readings while the bike's running and the charging system is doing its job. Come in here. Now the bike is running, it's got everything on. I'm going to put this down here where we can hopefully see it. And same thing, I'm going to touch the negative lead to the negative terminal, positive lead to the positive terminal. Now that's a healthy charging system. We're charging at over 14 volts. Typically I like to see them between 13.5 and 14.5. I'll rev the engine up a little bit. You'll see the number climb a little bit. So it's still staying above 12.5 volts. It's charging up how it should. So I would call this charging system good. Now, if you have a bad charging system, obviously your battery numbers are going to drain as you are running the bike. At that point, you know it's not the battery, it's something in that charging system. So you will, at that point, it's best to go ahead and find your field manual for your bike, your owner's manual, repair shop manual, whatever. A lot of places like manualslib.com will have it as a free PDF download for whatever bike is out there. And you're going to go through that. A lot of them will have procedures for testing your charging system, your field generator, all that stuff that's on the bike, figuring out whether it's your regulator rectifier, if it's your stator, or something else along those lines that have gone bad. At that point, you'll diagnose it down to pinpoint that, and then, of course, replace the parts that need replaced. I will go over all of that on a different video. I just don't really have anything available at this time that's taken apart, so give me some time. I don't want to spend 20 minutes on assembly and disassembly on a bike that you probably don't even have. So once I can get a general setup and give a general idea, we'll get into that. As far as that goes, that way you can at least tell the difference between whether it's going to be your battery or if you have an issue in the charging system. First step to diagnosing that, of course, I would check your negative battery lead, but as I said, we'll get into all that in another time. For now, that should be good enough to give you a general idea. And once again, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to do the whole like, subscribe, share, and all that. And hopefully we have helped somebody else today.